What's up, y'all? Talon here, and today I'm excited to be sharing another top-level team from the World Championship. This time we have a team shared by Joseph Ugarte, JoeUX9, who will have his social media as well as his team report for this team in the description below. It's a really cool team. He was able to get top 32 at the World Championship. Joe's one of the most consistent players in North America, having gotten, I think, top 32 at the World Championship last year as well as repeating top fours across 2022 and 2023 at North American International. So really just an incredible season this and last, and he followed it up with an incredible top 32 at Worlds with a really unconventional pick in the Wo-Chien. So I thought I'd feature it in a couple ranked battles on the Battle Stadium ladder. If you enjoy the content, the team breakdowns, the ranked battles, please subscribe to the channel. It helps out a ton, and let's get into the breakdown of the team. So one of the more common combinations on the team is actually the Flutter Mane plus the Thundurus. It's a pretty standard Flutter Mane, pretty fast and bulky, but what stands out on the set is the Hex. So when paired with Thundurus' Thunder Wave and sometimes Wild Bolt Storm, you're able to get consistent paralysis with the team in the early game. And if you have Flutter Mane on lead, you can just go with Thunder Wave Hex and take a lot of damage on turn 1. Or if you're spreading paralysis throughout the game with Wild Bolt Storm, just when you have Flutter Mane in the back, it can come in after a lot of Pokemon are chipped down. The Hex is really strong, but a lot of things in this metagame are able to take it from 100% HP, but usually if you've just gotten one Wild Bolt Storm or Rock Slide, really any amount of meaningful chip damage, you're able to take a knockout with the Hex in the late game, so that's really cool. I do want to highlight that Joe is one of the few Thundurus in the top cut of Worlds, and really one of the few to actually bring Thundurus in general. It was really overshadowed by Tornadus, but despite that, I think Thundurus really has a lot of strengths, particularly Wild Bolt Storm is just incredible against a lot of Tornadus, Urshifu teams. That's a really common lead for those lead teams, especially when they have a Choice Scarf Urshifu. And Thundurus just being able to sit on that with a near max defense set, Rocky Helmet just doing incredible chip damage and being able to near knock out both. Thundurus, of course, has Thunder Wave as well as Eerie Impulse and Taunt. Eerie Impulse is really nice because it's a consistent support option that can really have the damage of special attackers that isn't basically, it's an option you can be going for when you don't want to be risking the 90% of Thunder Wave, because usually, let's be honest, the para chances can be more important throughout a game than the Eerie Impulses, but if you're just trying to play more consistent and you don't want to miss Thunder Wave, then Eerie Impulse can be really nice into special attackers. Taunt is, of course, for things like Amoonguss, Trick Room, and is just generally strong utility. I think the Wo-Chien really complements this Thundurus very well. The Tablets of Ruin means that basically an Urshifu's Surging Strike, which otherwise would be, not a great trade for them. They're still taking lots of Rocky Helmet chip, but they'd really be trading about 50% for 50% on Urshifu and Thundurus, which can be a good trade if they've already gotten chip off. But with Tablets of Ruin, you're essentially taking less damage. You're taking under 50% from the Urshifu Surging Strikes. Not a lot of Pokemon neutral to water in this metagame can do that, so Wo-Chien having the ability to let any of the Pokemon in the team just suddenly become way tankier against the critting Urshifus is really, really nice. Going into the moveset, it's a Tera Poison Wo-Chien, so basically just being able to resist any fighting type damage coming its way while also removing its weakness to fire and ice can be really nice. Also resists bug types, so if something's trying to get a stray U-turn and do 4 times damage, suddenly it's doing resisted damage, which can come in clutch. The moveset is Foul Play, Giga Drain, Snarl, so just running with its stab, Foul Play for general damage. Giga Drain is nice consistent healing because Citrus Berry, although being really nice in burst damage, once it's gone, you do like to be able to just heal up a little bit on the Wo-Chien, and then Snarl is really nice into special attackers, particularly hard Trick Room teams like Armarouge and Didi. Being able to Snarl in front of that and substitute with Heatran is just an incredibly strong mode. Urshifu on this team might look standard. It's a, Mystic Water, Terra Water set, but the bulk on this Urshifu is absolutely insane. It's near max special defense and HP with a little bit of speed and attack, but really it's just meant to be taking hits. You don't really need the speed given you have Thunder Wave on the team, so that can be of advantage, so where you're just Thunder Waving things earlier in the game and then just taking advantage of your bulk and power to trade effectively later in the game. The Landorus is just a consistent option to be leading and bringing in the back to weaken opposing physical attackers that aren't named Urshifu. Really, it's your main answer against Iron Hands on this team, because otherwise, Heavy Slam, Wild Charge, really nice into Flutter Mane and Urshifu, as well as Drain Punch into Wo-Chien and Heatran, doing really solid damage. So having Landorus on the field to basically intimidate any physical attackers like that and let you trade effectively is really nice. It's a Terra Flying, Terra Blast set just to get the jump on Amoonguss and Urshifus if you have gotten the paralysis on those faster Urshifus in the first place. That can be really nice. And of course, U-Turn is just really effective. Something like leading Landorus and then you turning out into your Wo-Chien makes physical attackers pretty neutered and is a very cool combination. Heatran is the last member on the team, and it just really appreciates all the support that the Wo-Chien, Thundurus, and Landorus provide to it. Being able to get consistent substitutes on paralysis or just Pokemon that have been weakened is really nice. You have no Grass Terras. It's really Wo-Chien that's the only thing that can switch in on Spore and ignore Rage Powder. So having something like Taunt on Thundurus and then substitute as the final option to basically limit Amoongus's effectiveness is really important on this team. The Heatran has Leftovers to complement that, so Substitute, Protect, Leftovers, really a set as old as time. What really stands out on the Heatran though is the Tera Fairy. We've seen a lot of Tera Grass, we've seen a little Tera Bug and Tera Water, but Tera Fairy is definitely the first time I'm seeing it on this team, so that's really nice into fighting types like Iron Hands, Chien-Pao. Suddenly, if you need to Tera your Heatran out of, say, a water weakness earlier in the game, you're not weak to a late game Chien-Pao Icicle Crash. That's really nice. And yeah, the Heatran is just generally kind of a good matchup mon against bulkier teams with Amoongus, Goldango, Iron Hands, and you can effectively just use your Tera to handle the few fighting types in the metagame that give it some trouble. Before we get into the ranked battles, I once again want to highlight that Joe's team report for this team is in the description below. He gives a really detailed breakdown of some of the team's matchups, the building process, and how the run went. So of course you can learn from some of the ranked battles, but if you want to learn a little bit more how this team functions in terms of game plans and in best of 3, go to his channel and check that out. Drop a sub, comment, like, etc. If you enjoyed the content from me, please subscribe to the channel and let's get into the battles. Alright, so we have Cresselia, Dragonite, Urshifu, Iron Hands, Ursaluna, and Flutter Mane. So usually it's Booster Energy, Icy Wind, plus Choice Band, Tera Flying, Max Speed, Dragonite to get the jumps on a, for example, Flutter Mane, or other Flutter Mane. Basically it outspeeds it even if it's max speed. But we don't want to let them do that, do we? They are notably usually inner focus, so we have to be very, very conscious of that. Dragonite's kind of a toughie though. Even with Tera Flying, it's a little difficult to take down. Yeah, that's going to be a challenge for sure. I think we could lead our Urshifu. It's very, very bulky, which is nice. I feel like a Thundurus mode could be solid for us. Yeah, Urshifu feels good. I don't think Wo-Chien's that good for us. I think we have to bring Flutter on some level, and I think Wo-Chien is going to be our back, actually. Yeah, we need an Urshifu switch in very badly. So, yeah, realized Wo-Chien not that good in most situations here, but against specifically and only Urshifu, we really need it. Oh wait, no, it's Tera Dark. I'm a silly goose. That's kind of the issue of visually on ladder in team preview you can't tell it's Tera Water, so even if you know in your head you can kind of forget and just tunnel vision, but it's Crest Iron Hand, so I think that's totally fine. Yeah, Landorus would have been so cash. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. They probably have to fake out, which is totally cool by me. I think I want some damage into the Iron Hands. I don't think it's that valuable into Cresselia, is it? It might be. Yeah, Lando would have been so good. Yeah, I made it such a bad misplay bringing Wo-Chien. Whoops. That's okay. If they go for Tera Water or something like that, that's fine. On the Iron Hands, like obviously close combat would have been nicer, but I don't think we want to risk... Okay, it's Tera Dark. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. So that'll be blocking our Prankster Taunt. We also can't go for a Prankster Thunder Wave on them, and they don't fake out wisely. So that's a really cool trick. I didn't see that on either of the variants of the team that I saw at Worlds, but definitely a smart play to stop exactly this. So 2-hit KO on Iron Hands with Surging Strikes. Wall Charge is going to get us pretty close to a knockout. I think we're bulky enough to live. Yeah. Aqua Jet's not going to knock them out, and they'll likely be able to get a Lunar Blessing off. I think that's fine. They could Heavy Slam, they could Wild Charge again, they could Drain Punch, so that's definitely problematic. Yeah, not being able to taunt is way bad. Super duper annoying. I think they just Drain Punch if they want to. They could Heavy Slam, catch my Flutter. It could be Lando and back, right? That's what you're fearing. So I think I'll just Protect, stall a turn, and Wild Bolt Storm. If we get a pair onto Crest, that's fine. That I mean, it won't matter because of Lunar Blessing. It was Drain Punch, so we had to switch into Flutter Mane. And that is going to be Ice Beam. Oh, cool. So Lando wouldn't have been as good as we thought. That's a bummer. I think the Wild Bolt damage could have put the... You love to see it. That might be an Aqua Jet range. Gonna be close. Yeah, what a move, man. What a move. That's crazy. Aqua Jet should get really close to a knockout, honestly. I wonder if I just get after it. I kind of want to, right? Oh, they can't max. Yeah, I feel like I'm just going to go Flutter here. They're going to Lunar Blessing for sure. Kind of a questionable Tera in my opinion. And I could have gotten Flutter in, but I think having to switch in and out is just going to be annoying. Like if they bring an Ursaluna, they threaten a Headlong. So I just want to be able to like taunt that or something. But this should net a knockout into the Iron Hands. They could have ally switched, I suppose, which would have been quite annoying. Yeah, okay, we take that knockout, so end up taking the Iron Hands before they can Lunar Blessing it back up. I think them going for Ice Beam there was not a good play. It is good damage, and they almost benefited largely because of the freeze. But in most situations, can we get another? No. You just don't want to put your Iron Hands low. Like, HP on that Pokemon is so valuable. And there is the Ursaluna. So, cool. So, how many turns of Trick Room left? 2 turns. Definitely annoying. Can we stop? I think we probably just taunt Ursaluna. I don't want them taking a double knockout, truthfully. I think they just double me here, or they ally switch, and I kind of was having trouble covering the variance of that. Swords Dance. I almost taunted you. I almost taunted you, buddy. So that's fine. I should just be able to get Flutter in a second. Okay. We pair the Cresselia again. I mean, it's just a high pair move, right? And there is the burn, so taunt would have been really nice there. We do have a very hefty Aqua Jet. I don't think we take it. I think we just taunt. Yeah, kind of questionable. It's probably EQ, although it could be Facade. I think if they knock me out, I'm fine with it. Potentially. Because I get in Flutter Mane. I'm just going to Aqua Jet them. They could ally switch finally, but they don't. So now they should be chipped pretty close to in range for a Dazzling Gleam. Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, good crit there. Really, really definitely favors us. And now I think with Rocky Helmet, they should get a Lunar Blessing off, which is going to be valuable for them. Although, actually they can't. They have to Ice Beam. And they couldn't move because they're paralyzed. Yeah, that's kind of just how it's going to go against the Thundurus. Eventually that'll go down like that. So, Cresselia, we stalled out the Trick Room with kind of just a not good turn 1 at all. They sacrificed a lot to get their Trick Room up. Like, they had no defensive capability against us. Like, the Cresselia didn't end up doing too much. So now we just Dazzling Gleam pretty safely along with Surging Strikes. They can't ally switch out of that. And yeah, looks pretty safe. Oh, we don't Surging Strike because they're Terra Dark. And we don't want to bite into... Yeah, I think we just go for it. They can't, like, what did they get Trick Room up for, you know? And they do go for Ally Switch, it looked like. Not going to work in this case. Yeah, there is the survival on the crest, but we should be knocking out with Surging Strikes anyways, so... Definitely some crazy luck this game, but we were overall super favored in it. So now we just wait for their last Pokemon. With the Wo-Chien in the back being essentially worthless, we'll see how much it ends up mattering. But yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. The Terra Dark Cresselia. I thought that Thundurus was going to get a pretty safe either focus. It was either going to very, very safely get a... Yeah, I guess they could be Earthquake, in which case they lose anyways. But yeah, we'll just protect. Yeah, you gotta watch out for the Terra Dark Prankster immunity. We saw a Bruxish team trying to avoid Prankster Taunt, and yeah, if you can just have a Terra Dark on your Cresselia and essentially avoid the priority that way and just have a way better Pokemon, it definitely worth a Terra slot on Cresselia. You're really just trying to Terra out of Resist anyways, and what's that going to be? Dark and Ghost anyways, but suddenly you are introducing a bit of weakness to Flutter Mane later in the game, which is what bit them. Along with the numerous paras from Wild Bolt Storm. What a move. Thundurus just gets to sit on the field so many turns that you're bound to get a couple of those over the course of a tournament run. Just because it's so bulky. And if you actually hit it, you're taking Rocky Helmet damage, so you're actually getting negative momentum from that as well. So on some level, you're like, it'll probably not paralyze me, but eventually it will, and then you'll regret having not committed the resources to knock it out earlier in the game. This time, it looks like another pretty unfavorable one for the Wo champion. We have Torkoal, Flutter Mane, Tornadus, Charizard, Rillaboom, and Chi-Yu. So Bleak Wind does a ton, Fairy moves do a ton, Fire moves do a ton, U-Turn does a ton, and obviously Chi-Yu obliterates. So don't think that's a wise bring for us. I think Thunder Wave and Eerie Impulse has a lot of value here. Heatran, of course, just a monster. I don't want to lead it. I think it's better in the back. We could just go Lando. I think that's a pretty safe lead defensively. Thank you, Genies. Heatran in the back. This is very reminiscent of some old formats, but I don't think the Urshifu is super favored. How fast? The Flutter Mane is speed boosting, I believe. Yeah, that could be of value in Tailwind. Yeah, I think I like Flutter Mane a fair bit. So bring 3 of the most powerful Pokemon of the past generations and then the most powerful of this generation of Flutter Mane into Sun. With a bunch of old favorites too. Torkoal, Charizard. Interesting team from them. They're definitely super favored. Just pressing spread moves into anything that isn't a Heatran, but thankfully we do have the Heatran, but we do have to be very conscious of ground moves on their case, or on their team, so if we can get a Terra early, that'd be really nice. Yep, there is the Chi-Yu though. They weaken our special defense. Kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I think we can get after the Flutter Mane with Thunder Wave. Although maybe we should Eerie Impulse it. Just lower its damage output. We could Tera Fly. Ah, that's not very good, is it? Okay. Yeah, I kind of want the permanent speed drop on the Flutter. I feel like Rock Slide could be pretty good too. I think I will just go for Stomp into the Chi-Yu though, on the chance that they are expecting, or like maybe they just switch in Torkoal. Okay. I was thinking maybe they go for the Choice Specs Overheat and expect me to be less bulky than I am. But this does look pretty good if they don't flinch me. That's not Choice Specs, or maybe it is, I'm just not doing impressive damage into Lando, but yeah, very clean turn one. Glad we didn't go for Rock Slide, but if they go for Tera, that's fine by me. It's either going to be Water, which, okay, whatever. You're weak to Wild Bolt Storm and I can Thunder Wave you now. Or you go Grass and then suddenly Heatran's beating you, but it is Rillaboom in the back. Fair enough. Yeah, they feel super weak to Heatran at this point. Can I Thunder Wave literally everything on their team? Yes, I can. But should I? That is the question. I think I'll U-turn into... I don't want to get stomped. Basically, I'll always win this game if I do not just give away my Heatran, it feels like. So Operation Do Not Give Up Heatran has kind of begun. So I think I just go for Rock Slide Flinch maybe. Or Stomp into the Flutter. They could switch into Zard or something, but I doubt it. We're seeing a Tera from them, which is kind of interesting. Maybe they expected Tera Flying, which I could have gone for, but I just don't. Okay, Tera Fairy on their behalf. I don't want to commit my Tera because if it does get into a situation with Rillaboom against Heatran, if I have the insurance of going for Fake Out or going for a Tera Fairy, that'd be pretty nice. But we get some good chip on the Rillaboom with our Rocky Helmet, and they're going for Dazzling Gleam with the Tera Fairy. We know they're not Choice Specs. I think, are they? Oh, yeah, this Mondo bulky Lando doing a ton of work for us. Yeah, at this point, it's looking pretty bad for their Flutter. Could I just give up my... I shouldn't give up my Heatran. Like, it's tempting to U-turn, like it's so tempting, but I don't think the value is quite there. I think I'm fine letting them take a double knockout, truthfully. Or they can't take a double knockout if I connect. Playing the odds here. Thunder Wave, Rock Slide. I expected a Protect was pretty likely anyways, but since I don't want to U-turn the Rillaboom, I'm just going for Rock Slide to maybe stall the turn out of their Protect. But I don't think this solves the Heatran problem for them yet. And there's good chip damage. Heat Wave's going to do pretty close to a knockout. They did Drum Beating, so correct play, but so what? Now we just go Heatran, and I think pretty safely... we haven't done the damage we need on Rillaboom. I guess I maybe should have just gone aggressive and U-turned. But it is what it is. We didn't do that. And now, how are we looking? I think we have Substitute, yeah? Just Thunder Wave, Protect. We might be wasting ourselves here. 3 turns of grassy terrain. This is a little weird because I just don't want to give them... Yeah, I think I'll just go for the Tera here. Let me look who they have in the back, actually. Yeah, they just don't have anything to touch me. I think if they, like... They reveal Drum Beating, so they're likely not Wood Hammer. So, worst case, yeah, they Wood Hammer and then they Dazzling Gleam, knock me out. But I feel like that's pretty an unlikely outcome. We get the Thunder Wave off, we do connect, so we do have a chance for Flutter Mane to just not move at all. Since Heat Wave undoubtedly does not knock out such a bulky Pokemon. We do double connect, so that's good. And we weren't going to knock out Rilla, so... Oh yeah, there was the Stomp, so... We did make the right call there, and there is the Shadow Ball, so... I did consider Substitute, so I'm really glad we didn't make that play. And now I think we have a pretty easy peasy... Wild Bolt, Storm, Heat Wave. Although maybe I could Substitute. I'm healing a lot, though. I think Wild Bolt's safer... plus Protect. Or they canceled the battle. I guess they just didn't have anything but Stomping Tantrum to beat Heatran, and they had to make the read that turn. So, definitely questionable game plans against Rillaboom, but against Heatran, but I also wasn't... I mean, I don't know if I disagree with my plays, but I definitely had an opportunity to chip Rillaboom into Heat Wave range instead of having to make the read on the Tera. But I just didn't want to get into the situation where they just go super crazy read mode and Stomping Tantrum my Landorus and then suddenly win the game off of it. I don't know if the damage into U-turn automatically wins me the game because I could still... Like, if I miss Thunder Wave, I think I could still lose. So, Wo-Chien brought once, hasn't seen the field of play yet, but the rest of the team definitely carrying. Okay, and in this one we have not an old team, but definitely was a little earlier in the meta. It's Regidrago plus Mimikyu, along with some consistent Tailwind options with Tornadus, Tornadus, Goldengo, Urshifu, and Rillaboom. And the idea here is they want to set up Tailwind and go for spread moves with eventually getting Regidrago and Choice Specs Goldengo on the field, and you can't switch into the Fairy types with the Goldengo on the field, and basically that combination is covering everything pretty well. One thing it doesn't cover very well is the Heatran, so definitely want to get that on the field as early as possible against everything but the Urshifu. So yeah, I think I'll lead Heatran plus Tornadus. If they lead Urshifu, I'm going for Wild Bolt Storm and just basically doing crazy damage. And against all else, I think Lando could be very strong, and I think they're going to get Tailwind up, and I'm going to have trouble getting out of it, so I don't think Flutter Mane's very good. So the question is Wo-Chien or other. I think I'll go Wo-Chien. I don't really see Urshifu being that valuable against all the special attackers on the team. So yeah, I think Wo-Chien could get a Snarl off at some point in the game, and that could be valuable for us. Okay, so it's Torn Goldengo plus versus Heatran Thundurus, so pretty much exactly what we want. I could go for Substitute here. That's definitely tempting, but if they go for Trick on my Heatran, then I've toasted my Heatran for no reason. And given how strong it is against their team, I think I'd rather just take the immediate damage. They don't have a lot of good switch-ins into Heat Wave, Wild Bolt Storm. If we hit. Yep, there's the Ursh. They go for Tailwind, and this is kind of the value of Thundurus, particularly against Tornadus Urshifu, is you're threatening so much damage. Like if you double connect, free knockout onto the Urshifu, and Heat Wave is going to clean up the Torn too. So if you're looking for some if people are just consistently leading Tailwind Urshifu against you, you feel like it's cleaning up a lot of your teams, Thundurus with a lot of physical defense could be your option. And Wo-Chien to even further hamper that damage output. So that's something, this guy. So they have, what, Gholdengo left? I don't want to go for Tera for no reason. So I think I'll go for Eerie Impulse onto the Regidrago. Like, Tera, a lot of the times they'll be Earth Power, but sometimes they're Tera Blast, Tera Steel. So I don't want to just go for a Tera Fairy in the face of that, along with Gholdengo in the back. They go for Icy Wind, fair enough. That's some good damage into my Thundurus. But they're doing very minimal damage with their Regidrago now. Not that minimal, because they didn't go for Earth Power. Kind of an interesting call from them, but yeah, it doesn't knock out, so I think we're fine with that trade. I think at this point we get Heat Wave off pretty safely. Tailwind is going to wear off in a couple turns. I'm going to go Heat Wave plus Thunder Wave into Regidrago. They probably have to switch, but if they do, they're coming into a Heat Wave with Gholdengo, even if they are immune to Thunder Wave. So I think Thundurus is just really strong against more not passive, but Tailwind teams without immediate answers to it, like Hisui and Arcanine. So we're -1 speed on Heatran, but even though we missed the Tornadus earlier in the match, they're not throwing a lot of damage onto us. Non-zero, but now they're just going to do decreasing amounts of damage with that attack as we slowly whittle their HP down. Okay, and their last is Gholdengo. So I think we just go into our Wo-Chien and snarl them. And then Lando should clean up in the back fairly easily. I guess we can just double protect. Stall out their Tailwind in case they're a bit slow on their Pokemon. Just scout out for the Gholdengo's choice item. I don't think they have any option to beat Heatran though. And we see a Tera from them finally. So yeah, I had kind of forgotten about Tera, but we still have ours. I didn't go for a Tera on either of these. Obviously we're going for double protect, but I don't see any Tera being useful for us this game. We don't want to go for Tera Steel or Tera Fairy, obviously against Gholdengo, unless of course they lock themselves into Shadow Ball. But yeah, just once the last two Pokemon are down on the field and there's one turn of Tailwind, it's just, even though we could have gone for Snarl, it's just so much safer not to. Because if they like crit a Shadow Ball into my Heatran, it's a little dangerous. At this point though, we should, yeah, it was Earth Power the whole time, okay. But given they locked into Make It Rain, I don't think we can do a ton about that. They are -2 special attack and paralyzed. They're not doing that much damage to me. So I think what I'll do is just go for a Substitute, Snarl, and tank this Make It Rain, lower their special attack, and then if they get paralyzed on Regidrago, great. If not, whatever. I'm healing. I'm getting them even like lower and lower as the turns continue, and then Gholdengo, unless they crit my Landorus, which even then shouldn't knock out, is going to be not too big of an issue. So, yep, there's the sub. We are getting a little low, but if they get parried here, the game pretty much ends, and yeah, there it is. So now we don't even have to mess around with accuracy. We just go for Earth Power into Gholdengo, and then, yeah, close it out. Earth Power Foul Play should be enough. And we'll go for Heat Wave along with Foul Play. Because at this point they're so low anyways. Snarl, yeah, they cancel. But I think they could have played it out and tried to crit through, but the Heatran was going to be pretty monstrous to get through. Because I can always sub on their Gholdengo, Make It Rain, And unless they crit, they're not doing more than like 10%. They're doing decreasing amount, actually. Closer to like a couple chips of damage. But yeah, the Thundurus really showed off there in that battle just how good it is in situations where you're threatening basically close to a double knockout on both Tornadus and Urshifu. It's pretty crazy. Okay, last one of the day, and it's an interesting one. We have Anonymous, Iron Bundle, Thundurus, Urshifu, Abomasnow, and Chien Pao. So lots of defense on their team. The Ice type's getting that 50% boost. We do have to be careful of, I say, the Anonymous on their side, though. We can't snarl them down if they're contrary, which I expect them to be. Anonymous is kind of an issue, actually. We might try taunting their Thundurus. Really. And yeah, I think that's going to be our goal, is just taunt the Thundurus. Heatran does really well against everything on their team for the most part. And then I think Urshifu is pretty good. But again, I'm leading myself pretty weak to the Urshifu on, and I feel like the lead's good against it. It's just later in the game I'm a little weak. So maybe not Heatran, but I don't have any other resist for the ice moves. So, Shmeep Shmop. Bit of a toss-up. I don't think Wo-Chien is the call at all, and yeah, Wo-Chien Landorus against the triple ice team is kind of a tough sell. So the goal here is going to be try to either Thunderwave the Anonymous or taunt the Thundurus before they can kind of get rolling and go from there. Because set up Anonymous is definitely very threatening. If it doesn't have any boosts on it, it's not too much of an issue, but once it does, it's scary. Like, I'm pretty sure +2 Moonblast, yeah, they go immediately for that, so fair enough. Unfortunately, there's no way to determine which one of us is faster. I'm going to use my Tera this battle, potentially. I feel like they just go for the Dazzle, honestly, but I think that's a fair trade, just getting damage on them. Assault Vest could be a little annoying. Landorus could have been cute here for us. Like Thunderwave, the Anonymous plus Rock Slide doesn't have a ton of counterplay and relatively consistently flinches them, but is again kind of questionable into like an Abomasnow Iron Bundle lead. So they go for a Tera into Ghost. Okay, that is not quite a Flutter Mane, but it's getting pretty close. And they go for Eerie Impulse into, yeah, their own Anonymous, so Thunderwave would have been better in this case. But no more of that funny business. We could have Shadow Balled them, actually, for a knockout pretty cleanly. And they weren't Choice Scarf, and we do a ton of damage, actually. Okay, yeah, so they're just going straight for the knockout. Fair enough. But they definitely left themselves super susceptible to getting knocked out that turn, so not too upset. Now I think I have a pretty safe switch into Heatran, Thunderwave, Heatwave, and if I hit, I'm chilling. Yeah. Because I don't want to subject my Urshifu to the Thundurus if I can avoid it. We know they're faster, right? So I think, yeah, it's just pretty safe Thunderwave, Heatwave, and they don't have Fake Out on the back, so that feels pretty solid. Yep, and they could actually Scary Face themselves for the speed advantage, which would be... Oh, no, they can't. I taunted them. Whoop. They do Thunderbolt. Thankfully, no Wild Bolt Storm. Them paralyzing my Heatran would definitely be the one thing outside of a miss that could have put us down pretty bad. But, okay, Thundurus does... fortunately... Yeah, Thundurus, unfortunately, doesn't get knocked out. Sorry. So it would have been nice to get them down to their final two, but it's really just fodder for a... Ooh, that's pretty good for me. So I could go for a Steel Tera on my... No, on Water Tera, definitely not. Okay. Thunderwave plus Tera Fairy feels quite safe for me. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad play at all. And on some level, I don't even have to Thunder Wave. I can Eerie Impulse and tank a hit. But it's non-permanent is the issue. I think Eerie Impulse is actually smarter here. Because I'm not going to outspeed regardless. So if I can like live a hit, that'd be nice. And most likely they just, oh okay. Might have bit into the blizzard by tearing my Heatran, but again, I have Eerie Impulse. I'm not risking the Thunder Wave miss, so. Yeah, those kind of tiny turns on Thundurus where it's like, yeah, Thunder Wave would be nice, but you do this, you know, in generations after the 90% accuracy change, you do have to be conscious. It's not a 100% chance to be very favorable for you. You could miss and just like waste your turn, whereas an Eerie Impulse is always going to hit and provide value against a special attacker. So there is the Blizzard. Does a lot of damage, but really we're just looking to not get frozen here. And very nice. We do not get frozen, and we connect the Heat Wave on the Abomasnow. Clean knockout, Iron Bundle, now burned. About as good of a turn as we could have expected. So Thundurus really doing all it needed to and more here. I really feel like Thundurus is the MVP of this team. The Wo-Chien kind of stands out as like, oh, the obvious standout of the team. Just in terms of, okay, this Pokemon's weird, but I think Wo-Chien definitely or Thundurus definitely the one that provides value the most in the majority of the battles. So now it's just pretty clean Aqua Jet, Earth Power. No reason to stall it out. They could like Thunder Wave or something, but they're gonna burn themselves. They have to double crit essentially to win this game. No, yeah, they would have to double freeze here and then somehow get a knockout in the next turn on both of the Pokemon, but no chance. Yeah, Heatran just really the anti-Blizzard, really the anti-Weather Scrooge against everything but rain and sand. Like Sun and Hail just get obliterated by Heatran. It kind of is one of the reasons those aren't such strong meta presences. But yeah, man, that Thundurus, I just have to keep singing its praises. It was really the MVP in this session. Can't believe how good it has been. So that'll do it for the battles today. I think we showed off how really strong the Thundurus is and how the whole team really meshes together in a solid way. The Wo-Chien and the Thundurus kind of are just the final pieces that allow the offensive core of the team to function really well in most matchups. I do think one comment on this team is it seems like it's really tailored for best of 3, which the World Championship of course is, but in a best of 1 environment, it seemed to be a little more difficult to balance the damage trades in your favor when you didn't have all the information of your opponent's team in front of you. One unfavorable turn could kind of turn things against you. You didn't have an Amoonguss or a Pollen Puff on Wo-Chien to basically heal your damage back up, so all your trades had to be really favorable. Regardless, I had a lot of fun using the team. If you want to use it for yourself, I have the pokepaste and the rental code in the description below, along with the team report from Joe, so give that a comment, like, and a subscription for him. It's a good video of a really solid team. He outlines his thought process in the team creation, as well as some ideas on how to approach certain matchups that might be a little trickier, so go check that out. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel, and peace.